Coming up on No DQ&A video, I'll be answering questions in regards to Sting and WWE. Will he finally come into WWE and in what capacity? Also, I'll be talking about CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan. Will these two compete in an Iron Man match at some point? And not only that, but I'll also be talking more about Triple H versus Brock Lesnar and a lot more, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 140 of No DQ&A video. We got TNA Sacrifice this weekend, Sunday night starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you check out the coverage at NoDQ.com. But right now, let's get down to your questions. I've been comparing the buy rates for WWE pay-per-views over the last few years, and the buy rates continue to decline in almost all of them. How low would the buy rate get before WWE was in trouble, and what could be done to boost the buy rates of the pay-per-views? I think that they're already in a bit of trouble right now under normal circumstances. I mean, the buy rates have dropped to almost an all-time low in WWE. They've really been on the decline. And I say that theoretically because WWE is actually, they have so many other different revenue streams out there that even when the buy rates are down, even when business is down, WWE is still making a profit. I mean, WWE as a corporate machine is as polished as ever. I mean, they have so many different ways to make money through DVDs, and now they're doing YouTube videos. WWE knows how to stay in business even when the economy's down, even when interest in the product is down. So they're doing okay despite the fact that the buy rates have plummeted. Now, in terms of boosting the buy rates, you have to convince your audience that the pay-per-views are something special again. And fans just got out of the habit of buying pay-per-views, and it seems like no matter what WWE does, people just don't buy the pay-per-views anymore. And of course, the whole concept of streaming the pay-per-views and all that is definitely hurting a little bit, but still, it really feels like as of late these pay-per-views are like a 3-hour edition of Raw. I mean, they're nothing all that special. And it's something that's going to take a lot of time. I mean, WWE has to work on this. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen with one pay-per-view. You have to keep making a big deal out of the pay-per-view time and time again and get people back in the habit of watching them. So until that happens, I mean, the business just isn't going to do all that well. You said the Money in the Bank may replace Survivor Series as a main pay-per-view in WWE. What does WWE need in order to revive Survivor Series, which has been a poor pay-per-view since 2009 in my opinion? Well, this relates to the last question. The thing about Survivor Series is last year they tried to do something special with Survivor Series, and they did try, but I don't think that it was as effective as it should have been. They built Survivor Series around The Rock's return. They had it in Madison Square Garden, so on paper it sounds like a great idea to try to get people interested in Survivor Series again. But the fact is, the execution of it was done very poorly. I mean, they spent more, we talked about this before. They spent more time on Raw focusing on Twitter than promoting the Survivor Series match. And they booked a main event match that people just didn't want to see. I mean, you had John Cena and The Rock, these two sworn enemies, yet they're teaming up in a match. People don't really want to see that to begin with. They want to see those two guys go at it. And then their opponents were booked as complete jokes. I mean, you had The Miz and R-Truth. The booking of the match was just terrible. In the weeks leading up to Survivor Series, you had John Cena single-handedly beat both guys on his own. So what's the point in buying the pay-per-view? He can already beat both guys by himself, so why does he even need The Rock? And then I think the last show before Survivor Series, The Rock beat up Miz and R-Truth as well. So it really rendered the main event pointless. And the only reason people bought that pay-per-view was to see The Rock come back. And, I mean, it really showed when the pay-per-view buy rate came out that WWE dropped the ball big time. So, in my opinion, they need to focus on a big one-on-one match and really push it hard. And maybe over time they can build the Survivor Series name back up. Because right now, I mean, it means practically nothing. I mean, it's just as meaningless as the other B WWE pay-per-views, the secondary pay-per-views. Is there a chance the tag team division in WWE is starting to rebuild with many new teams coming together? Like Kofi and R-Truth, Santino and Ryder, Titus O'Neil and Darren Young, Hunico and Camacho, and Kid and Gabriel? Or is it just temporary build-up? It definitely seems like WWE is starting to make an effort to rebuild the tag team division. We're seeing a lot of new teams put together in recent weeks. And I like some of the teams they put together. I like Titus O'Neil and Darren Young. I like the thing on SmackDown with them. So hopefully they keep going with that, and they don't give up on the tag teams again. Like the pay-per-view buy rates, it's something you can't fix overnight. You gotta work on it over several months and keep building up these tag teams, and hopefully they can make the division mean something again. Because yeah, it's been really watered down, and it used to mean a lot. I mean, I've talked about this before. As a kid, I used to love the tag teams. You know, the Legion of Doom, Heart Foundation, the Rockers. They had really strong tag teams back then, and they really need to focus on making the teams interact with each other, and you know, not just two names thrown together randomly, but you know, two guys that have the same attire and similar move sets. They really need to work on that more, I think, because just randomly throwing the tag teams together just doesn't cut it for me personally, and I think for a lot of people they want to see like tag teams with the same colors and the same move set and you know, stuff like that. Do you think that there's any chance that Sting will come to WWE? Like a GM, manager, or something like that? Please answer in video. I've talked about Sting before. I think the longer period that goes by and Sting's not in WWE, I think it's more unlikely that he's going to come in. I mean, he's getting older, you know, and I just don't think he has any real interest in coming to WWE, and that's unfortunate. I mean, a year or two ago when there was all that hype about Sting versus Undertaker, I mean, that would have been a perfect opportunity to bring him in and do something with Sting and Undertaker. And the thing is, they could have shown all those clips of Sting in WCW and then built up Sting as coming in to make a big impact in one match against Undertaker and try to end the streak. I mean, they had a great storyline right there, and they didn't capitalize on it. And I don't think there's going to be another opportunity for Sting at this point. And like I said, the longer time goes by, I mean, more and more people are going to forget about Sting, and you have a new audience, you have younger fans, and it's going to be hard to get people, the new audience, to identify with Sting and get into his character and all that. So I just don't know if it's going to happen. I think at the most, maybe we'll get Sting going into the Hall of Fame when he's done with TNA, but quite frankly, I think that's going to be it. I think there's just not much hope here that Sting's going to be able to come in and do some sort of match or anything. Now, as far as a GM or a manager, I don't know about a manager. Maybe they could bring him in a GM type role, but like I said, it's not going to make all that much of an impact when a lot of the new audience doesn't know who he is, and there's only so much footage you can show. It just won't work out. Would you be interested in seeing CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan in an Iron Man match? I think Punk and Bryan will have the same chemistry as Jericho and Punk, and I think it would be a technical classic like the Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect SummerSlam match. I'd love to see an Iron Man match between those two. I think it would be a really great match between those two. The problem is, I don't think it's going to happen because the fact that there's so many guys on the WWE roster that if you do a 1 hour Iron Man match, that's going to take away a lot of time from some of the other guys. And WWE likes to try to get as many people on a show as possible. And, I mean, you look back to the first Iron Man match that we all remember, the one from WrestleMania 12 with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. Back then, the WWE roster was really thin, actually. So they could go out there, and they actually needed guys to go out there and fill up time. So back then, it made sense to do a 1 hour Iron Man match. But in this day and age, you have so many people on the WWE roster that I just don't think they're going to do it. But it would be an awesome match, no doubt about it. And perhaps if the match at Over the Limit goes really well, that WWE will consider doing something, some kind of follow up with them, and give them another big match. Maybe not an hour Iron Man match, but maybe a 40-minute match or something like that. As Triple H in on Raw next week, will WWE decide to announce Triple H versus Lesnar early and then build it up like they did with Cena and Rock, taking months to build the match until SummerSlam? This also goes back to the earlier questions about Survivor Series and try to make the pay-per-view something special again, because SummerSlam has really suffered in the last few years, just like all the other pay-per-views, with the exception of the Royal Rumble and, of course, WrestleMania. So I think that that would be a great idea to start hyping up Triple H versus Lesnar now and give the fans time to build anticipation for the matchup. I see nothing wrong with that at all. And having that long build-up for Rock versus Cena worked in the long run. So why not do it for SummerSlam? And obviously it's not a year or anything, but I think it would definitely benefit from a 3-month build. They could bring out Paul Heyman in the next couple weeks and have him go back and forth with Triple H, and then maybe sometime in June sign the match, and then in July bring back Lesnar and start building towards it from there. I think that would be a great idea. Alright, that'll do it for this edition of No DQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Make sure you subscribe, youtube.com/NoDQ&AW. Keep spreading the word on Facebook and Twitter. And as I mentioned before, stay tuned to NoDQ.com for TNA Sacrifice coverage, and we'll see you next time.